The Minnesota Timberwolves are so back, and Anthony Edwards made more history, becoming the third fastest player to score 7,500 career points in Friday's 107-90 win over the Warriors. Edwards reached the milestone by scoring 30 points, along with 9 assists and 7 rebounds, as only LeBron James and Kevin Durant have reached 7,500 points in fewer games, which continues to prove that Edwards is a rising superstar in the NBA. And the performance, it began in the second quarter when Edwards had a turnaround jumper off the glass to extend the lead to double digits, and then knocked a three-pointer just under 3 minutes left in the first half to give Minnesota a big 54-35 lead. Edwards continued his big game with an alley-oop to Rudy Gobert later in the fourth quarter, and then he told the Golden State Warriors crowd to go home.
Of the season, and he's been barking all game long.
As the final seconds ticked away. It was another masterful performance by Edwards, who led the Timberwolves to their fourth straight victory after he called the team soft after a loss to the Sacramento Kings on November 27th. In this one, guys, I'm going to be talking to the Timberwolves and what has been working for them as they look to be the team that we saw during last season. If y'all can do yourself a favor, drop a like on the video and smash that subscribe button for more Timberwolves content just like this. So the Timberwolves, they have arrived and they are playing some of their best basketball of the season, and it's really been their defensive improvement that has been the most impressive part of their 4-game winning streak. In the 4 wins, Minnesota has allowed 85.5 points per game, and according to The Athletic's Aaron Gleeman, they're the first NBA team to allow 92 points or fewer in 4 straight games since the Memphis Grizzlies in 2021. They're the first Timberwolves team to do so since 2008. And of course, 4-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, has been that anchor. He had 5 steals against the Clippers on Wednesday, and he's averaging 2 steals per game during this winning streak. And Minnesota, they were one of the best defenses in the league last season, which was why they had a chance to get to the NBA Finals. But then after they traded Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, it's taken this team some time to find that same groove and rhythm. But with time passing, it looks like that team is starting to return back to that level of success. After a slow start, the Timberwolves, they're starting to trend upwards, and their 108.2 defensive team rating ranks 4th best in the entire NBA, and they've allowed 106.6 points per game, which ranks 3rd best. And this is following an 8-10 start to the regular season. And once this happened, a lot of people jumped to conclusions about this T-Wolves team and how they were heading downhill and pointing back to the trade and how they shouldn't have made that trade. But the Timberwolves, they have proved that they're still one of the best defensive teams. And when this team is operating on the defensive end, this is a dangerous team. This is a team that can be absolutely lights out. And I really want to credit what Edwards has done, because when this team essentially hit rock bottom with that loss against the Kings, there was a big lack of team chemistry. You know, the new players were struggling to fit in. And once Anthony Edwards called the team out, it looks like Minnesota has been an entirely new, different team. And they really needed something like that to get them back in the right direction. And you got to credit Edwards. Like, not only is he a superstar with his play, but he's a leader. The fact that he did call his team out, holding everybody accountable, you really need somebody like that when your team is falling apart. And that point in time could end up being a big turning point for this Timberwolves team if they can continue this level of success. Going into that game against the Warriors, the Timberwolves, they went 3 straight games allowing 80 or fewer points. They didn't hold the Warriors to 80 or fewer points, but they still held a team that averages 114 points to just 90 points on their home court. So that was a really impressive display. They have this newfound defensive success, you know, from Coach Chris Finch to the players, the leadership that has been shown on the defensive end. It has been contagious, and really everybody's buying in right now. And Edwards was asked about the improved play from the defense following the win over the Warriors, and he said this: everyone is guarding at a high level, but Jaden and Rudy is being the anchors that we need them to be. Naz and Julius is playing defense. I've never seen them play defense before, so that's incredible. And He's right here. Put the camera on him. He be guarding his you-know-what off, Edwards said. So Edwards, like, that's the type of guy he is, man. Like, I love hearing this guy talk because he keeps it real, doesn't sugarcoat anything. He just gives it to you raw. And Edwards, you know, he notices that guys are starting to really step up defensively, and that's the big reason why the Minnesota Timberwolves have been on this win streak, and they are starting to look like that same team we saw last season. And you know, the fact that you have both Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert getting the main credit here from Edwards, like, that is big. Because, you know, a couple of days ago, Gobert took some of the blame for this team's struggles on the defensive end as of late. So Edwards, he's going to keep it real. Like, when you're playing well, he's going to let you know about it. When you're playing poorly, he's going to let you know about it too. So it's to be expected. Like, when you have a guy in Gobert, he's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, that he is going to be that anchor and strong suit of your defense. But it's been great to see McDaniels step up during this time, you know, with his energy, with his play on defense. And then you got to look at Anthony Edwards for really taking the lead of this team and what he's been doing, you know, calling his teammates out, calling the whole thing out. And then he goes out there and just puts up the numbers that he has been most recently, like that epic performance he had against the Warriors. Like, that's what makes Ant special, and that's what separates him from some of these other young stars in the NBA. He's not only performing at a high level, but he's got that leadership factor. He's got that killer instinct, and really, like, you see why there's been those comparisons to a young MJ and all that, because, like, and he's got that it factor. And this is a guy that is going to go out there, he's going to talk his trash, he's going to hold everybody accountable, including himself, and he's going to deliver. And really, this Minnesota Timberwolves team, they have turned their season around on the dime. It was not looking good. A lot of people losing faith. I was looking at this situation very bleak, and I thought Minnesota was going down a wrong road. But man, like, things have turned around in a big way since that bad loss. And it looks like Minnesota, the old Timberwolves, that same team that made it to the Western Conference Finals last year, they look to be back, and we'll see if they can keep up this defensive intensity and keep up this improved play, and this T-Wolves team can keep winning and move on up in the West. If this Timberwolves team is the team that we have moving forward, the one that just won these last 4 games, like, this is one of the top teams in the West. This is what Timberwolves fans were hoping to see from the start of the season. So sometimes it takes time. You got to let things settle in. When you get new players, you got to wait for everything to mesh together. But yeah, the Timberwolves, they've been looking good, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this team as of late. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is it for me. It's Luke signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.